with me, your man, Louie Tee. Welcome to, make sure I got my mic on. Check. All right. Welcome to the Command Post Game Live Show. Your man, Louie Tee, here in the building after the 37-20 loss at the hands of the San Francisco 49ers. The game kind of went the way I expected it to go in the second half. I was actually surprised that we were in the game in the first half, and we actually should have been leading this game. You know, if we're being, honest with one another, we dominated the first half of this football game, and yet we had nothing to show for it. And that's been a theme. And unfortunately, that's been a theme the last month of the season. You know, the two Giants games, if you think about the first Giants game, we dominated the second half of that game, and we had 7 points to show for the dominance that we had in the second half. When you think about the second Giants game, we dominated the first quarter, and we had 3 points to show for it, a 3-point lead. That quickly evaporated with one snap, and the whole game changed. Yet you dominated the game. We dominated the start of this San Francisco 49ers game, and you had 0 points to show for it. As a matter of fact, you were down 7-0, despite a drop by Jahan Dotson on the first possession that would have been a touchdown. You had a drive that went all the way down to the 1 yard line, and Antonio Gibson didn't extend the football over the goal line. And he did get hit, but he should have been extending that football well before that hit took place. And so he doesn't score, and they get a stop on fourth down. You can't get an inch on a Ron Rivera decision to roll the dice. I had no problems with it. You can't quarterback sneak and move the line of scrimmage enough to get your quarterback 6 inches. You don't deserve to win the game. My question is, where was this gumption? Where was this bravado last week in a must-win game against a lesser opponent in the New York Giants? Where was that? See, that's what happens, and that's the problem that I have, is that when you have nothing to lose, the 49ers are better than us, so we should go for it. We got nothing to lose. It's the 49ers. We're supposed to lose this game. Now we want to play all loose, and we want to go out and roll the dice, and it's all okay. But when we were playing a team that we were better than, that we should have beat, we're tight, and we want to punt, and we want to be conservative, and you end up losing the football game. So I hate the contrast. Like, consistency is what I'm all about. And obviously, each game is its own entity, right? And there are certain things you have to do against one opponent that you wouldn't dare do against another opponent because of how that opponent plays. And maybe they felt like with San Francisco, we're going to have to score some points, so maybe we should go for it. I don't know what the logic was there. I didn't have a problem with the play call. I didn't have a problem with the decision to go for it. You just got to execute, and we didn't. But when you look at what we were able to do, we had a 10-minute drive, and this is the shit that pisses me off. We had a 10-minute drive in the second quarter. Like, I didn't even realize how quickly the second quarter had elapsed until I literally looked at the clock, and there is 5 minutes left in the second quarter. And I'm like, oh my God, this quarter is flying. Yeah, that's because you just had a 10-minute drive and you didn't get any points off of it. Like, that's crazy. But we ultimately got the interception. Then that, it turned the game. And if you would have asked me going into this game, if we're tied at halftime, if I would have taken it, you damn right I would have taken it. But after seeing us actually play in the start that we could have gotten off to, that felt disappointing. To be 7-7 at half when you could have easily been up 17-7 or 17-10 or something to that effect, but to only be up, to be tied at 7, knowing the opportunities that have gone by the wayside, that's frustrating. It's really, really frustrating. But I just wanted to be in the game in the fourth quarter, and we had a chance. We had a chance. What was the score going into the fourth quarter? It couldn't have been that bad. We didn't really implode until the fourth quarter. So the score going into the fourth was 21-14. I mean, we were right there at the end of the fourth quarter. And they started off the fourth quarter with a field goal and made it 24. And I'm thinking, I remember in the MOBB, I put in a comment that said, we're right in this game. We got a chance to steal this thing. And immediately after I said that, Heinicke fumbles, leads to another field goal. And I'm still thinking, great stop by the defense. It's still a 2-score game. You can win this thing 28-27. Then Heinicke fumbles again, or throws a pick rather, excuse me. And that's when you said, okay, this shit is done. And at that moment, I was actually looking for Wentz after the fumble because I thought Heinicke hurt his elbow. And they put him back in there. And I don't know if that had anything to do with the pass he threw or what may have you, but that was a horrible interception. And Brian Robinson needs to touch that defender. I know you're upset. You don't know what the hell he was doing. He thought you was going to keep running. You stopped. I don't know who was in the wrong there. It doesn't matter. You have to touch that guy down. Like, you can't just have a brain fart and not touch him. Luckily enough that, for us, Brian Robinson's foot hit him somehow, and he was down, and we ended up holding him to another field goal. So it's still a 2-possession game. Wentz comes in, masterful drive. And the 49ers, the 49ers ain't shit for this, because they literally, the minute Wentz came in, they sent blitz after blitz after blitz after blitz against Carson Wentz. I mean, they came after him with the kitchen sink, and they said, prove to us that one, your line can hold up. Two, you ain't no bitch. Three, that you're not going to crumble under this pressure. And four, you ain't going to turn it over under this pressure. And Wentz proved all of those things. Like, okay, at least not the offensive line part. He was getting hit on almost every throw, but he hung in there. He made some plays, including a little flip to Jonathan Williams out of the backfield when it looked like he was about to get sacked, and put us in a position, throws the touchdown. And that was a great throw with some feathery soft touch to Curtis Samuel. And I'm thinking to myself, if you get this 2-point conversion, we got ourselves a chance here. You got all 3 of your timeouts. There's 5 minutes left. You kick it off deep. Honestly, even after they failed to convert the 2-point conversion, I thought that they should have kicked it off deep. It's 5 minutes to go. You got all 3 of your timeouts. I don't think an onside kick is the right move there, because there's a 95% chance you're not going to recover this onside kick. It'd help if you even kicked it 10 yards, which we didn't. But the likelihood is you're not going to recover it. You're going to give them great field position. You don't need them scoring any more points. None. So to me, your best opportunity was to kick it deep, hope that you get a 3 and out. Whether you use your timeouts or not is optional. Maybe the 49ers get aggressive on 3rd and 6 and throw it. It's incomplete, and you're able to save a timeout or 2, and you get the football back, and you're going to get it back with some solid field position, and then you go and try to do it again. And all you would need then, if you score a touchdown, is a field goal. But when you kick onside kick in that situation, don't even have it travel 5 yards, they're already starting in field goal range. You kind of put yourself in a bad spot, because now you need a stop and you need 2 touchdowns after they kicked the field goal. So I didn't like that particular decision to go onsides there, even though you didn't get the 2-point conversion. First of all, what a lousy 2-point conversion play that was. That thing was dead on arrival. Like, first of all, it's too slow developing. You got too much going on in the backfield. You're blocking Boza with the tight end. I mean, are you insane? Like, everything that I talked about going into the game, they did it at some point in this game. Said, can't turn it over. We know Heinicke's going to turn it over. Every game he turns it over. What did he do? He turned it over. It took him to the 3rd quarter, or the 4th quarter rather, where he turned it over. All right. I said, you can't let George Kittle kill you. You can't let George Kittle go off, because we know what he is, run after catch. And what did he do? Torched us after the catch. 2 touchdowns. The second one couldn't have been any easier. Benjamin St. Juste looks like he re-aggravated the ankle. He could barely move. That's a sad state of affairs there, because I think he's going to ultimately miss the next 2 games. He gutted it out today, but I don't anticipate him playing next week against the Browns. So we're back to square one there. When I said, don't let Kittle kill you, he killed us. I said, hey, they got some explosive players. Ray McCloud and Brandon Ayuk. Like, don't let these guys get explosives. Make them earn everything. Purdy's going to turn it over. What did he do? He turned it over. Now, we got some help. Their receiver literally, batted it in the air and, got picked off. But that's not, that's not our fault. We don't have anything to do with that. So it was literally a what not to do list of things that I gave them, and they did everything on the list, essentially. Let me get rid of this clown. So, like I said, it was frustrating watching it unfold, but I knew what was going to happen. So, at the end of the day, I actually didn't think Heinicke played poorly up until the fourth quarter, where he absolutely imploded. But I didn't think he played bad. I thought he played well, actually. Like, I felt like we were getting ultra, early in the ball game. He made some throws and he did some things. There was one play on a boot. I think he ended up completing this one to Jahan, I believe, where they run boot and he's under duress immediately and he outflanks the two 49er defenders and makes a beautiful throw for a first down. And I'm like, okay, this might be ultra today, Unfortunately, it was only a couple of long necks of ultra, and then the rest were lights, and then we got to the non-alcoholic, and that was that. But I was actually impressed with some of the things we did today. I actually thought it was a really solid performance for 3.5 quarters or so. But you can't make the amount of mistakes that we made and expect to be the team that's better than you. And we knew that going into the game, and we made too many mistakes. But all in all, and I hate saying this because I've said this before, and I told you this is a week-to-week league. So you can't just take an effort and just extrapolate it over the next 2 weeks. But if we get the kind of effort we got today out of, the team, we'll beat Cleveland and we'll beat Dallas. I really, truly, again, with minus the mistakes, again, but easier said than done. Okay, clearly easier said than done. But I truly believe that the Cowboys won't have anything to play for in Week 18. Whether that, I don't care, honestly speaking, whether they do or they don't. I don't think they will. Okay, I think they'll be resting most of their starters in Week 18 because they will have already locked up. They've already locked up a playoff spot. They're not going to catch Philadelphia. I'm glad they beat the Eagles today. Eagles still have to play their starters next week. So, but they will not need Week 18 because they won't be able to catch the Eagles, and they won't be able to move up anywhere in the standings, and they won't be able to fall in the standings. They're pretty much locked into the 5th seed. So if they want to try to knock us out of playoff contention, they can play their guys and do that. But you're less worried about what some other team is doing and trying to do, and you're more concerned about what's in the best interest of my team. And what's going to be in the best interest of the Cowboys is to not play Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and some of those other guys, Tony Pollard and those guys, and get them rest. We've already lost to Cooper Rush though, so it's not like it's a given because they're not going to have some of their starters out there. We've lost to their backup quarterback already this season, so understand that it's still going to be a hell of a challenge, but we got to get there first, and we have to beat the Browns next week. And I think we will beat the Browns. The Browns are awful right now, awful as a football team. So I expect us to go home next week, settle down, settle in, play confident, competent football, and beat a team that has nothing to play for, that went home and wet the bed today against the New Orleans Saints. I expect that team to show up at FedEx Field next week, and for us to do what we need to do to snap this losing streak that we're on now and get back in the win column and put ourselves in a position to make the playoffs. And I think that's what's going to happen. But I really thought that the effort we got from the team today was rock solid. It was a rock solid effort. Just too many mistakes, too many mistakes. Well, I want to look at some of the statistics real quick because Jahan Dotson was outstanding today. Terry was outstanding today. Curtis was Curtis. Brian Robinson, I was not impressed with Brian Robinson today. I was not impressed with Brian Robinson, and the numbers bear that out. 22 carries, 58 yards. I thought he left some yards out on the football field. I also thought he ran hard like he always does, but this wasn't one of his more impressive performances. Again, credit the 49ers too. That's a really good defensive team that we went up against today. So you had to know that this wasn't going to be a 25, for 110-yard performance from Robinson against this stout and stingy 49ers defense. But they hadn't given up more than 17 in over a month. For us to come in there and score 20, and we easily could have scored closer to 30 without the mistakes. Jahan doesn't drop that pass. Gibson gets it over the end zone. You're talking about potentially scoring 30 on these boys. So this could have been a totally different game. I really was impressed with how we moved the football, impressed with what Wentz did. And I'm going to be honest with you. I preferred Wentz to get in this week get a little bit of that rust off of, up off of himself, right? Put himself in a position next week to be primed and ready to go. There will be no discussion about who's at quarterback. That was it for Heinicke. We talked about this already last week. If he didn't win this week, or if he wasn't one, he needed to play really well, which he was on his way to doing. The man was 13 of 18 for 166 yards in the game. The problem is he threw an interception and he also fumbled. And I thought he took a couple of sacks, and one didn't even count. They had a holding in the secondary where I said, that's a terrible sack, dude. You can't take that sack. And he got lucky that sack was wiped away. So I actually thought that Heinicke didn't play poorly. It just, the mistakes, you can't have them. And he makes them every single game. Every game, you're going to get a Heinicke turnover. We've discussed this. It's a known fact. Excuse me. You're going to get a Heinicke turnover. It's just a matter of when is it going to come? How bad is it going to be? And, how crippling will it be? But he's going to turn it over. So the run game was a non-factor for us. We were inefficient running the football. Nobody had a good game running the ball. But Terry, 4 catches, 77 yards, the 51-yarder, the touchdown. He was outstanding. Jahan, 6 catches, 76 yards, and a touchdown. He could have had a much bigger game. He had the big, 30-some-odd yard catch negated by a holding penalty on Wes Schweitzer, but he also did have the drop. And I thought that play that they called incomplete, I thought that was an interception. I'm screaming at the TV, hurry up! Snap the ball, hurry up! What you doing? Before Shanahan realizes that it's an interception and throws the challenge flag again. Sometimes I don't understand what our guys are doing. That ball never touched the ground as far as I'm concerned. That's an interception. And so I'm yelling, screaming, pleading with them, snap the damn ball. He lifted his leg and now he's calling out protection. After protections, snap the ball. I don't care if it's a 2-yard run to Jonathan Williams. Snap the ball and hand it off. Let's get this play going. Luckily enough for us, he snapped the football and he throws a touchdown pass to Curtis Samuel. So that was a close one. But all in all, this was a solid performance, from Wentz coming in relief. He went 12 of 16 for 123 yards and a touchdown. Obviously, that first drive, it wasn't garbage time quite yet. The game was not over. We were only down 16, and he scored a touchdown with 5 minutes and some change left. And if we get that 2-point conversion, it's a 1-score game with 5 minutes left, and we got all 3 timeouts. So that wasn't a garbage time TD when he got most of those yards. Now, that the end of the game where he got another probably 30, 35 yards, yeah, that's garbage time stats. But I thought he came in, stabilized the offense, moved it down the field, and scored, something that we don't do enough of in the red zone. He comes in, there was a reason that the man had 7 touchdown passes after the first 2 weeks of the season. He's not garbage. We know this for a fact. Our biggest concern was, can he protect himself? Behind an offensive line that, hasn't been great all season long, that let him down early in the season, can he protect himself? The answer is it's a different run game, and yes, he should be able to protect himself. And now we have weapons and we have guys that have been here. He didn't get the full Brian Robinson experience. By the time he was, tagging out, Brian Robinson was just starting to really tag in. So it's a different offense for Wentz. There's still going to be mistakes by Wentz. He's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but he gives this offense a chance to be more dynamic and explosive. That's what Carson Wentz brings to the table. The ability for this team, that's what we had early in the season, the ability to quick strike, to score 28 points. We didn't have that with Taylor Heinicke. We have that now with Wentz, and it'll be interesting to see how he plays next week. It's a massive game. If you don't win next week, you're not making it to the playoffs. It's really simple, because you can't expect Detroit to lose next week to Chicago, or you can't expect Seattle to lose next week to the Jets, even though if Mike White comes back and he may be cleared to play next week, they could easily lose to the Jets, could Seattle. But you can't keep expecting these teams to lose. At some point, you have to win. And so next week, we knew this was a loss. We were counting this one as a loss. So you now need to refocus and say, all right, we got 2 winnable games down the stretch, one at a time. How do we get the win against Cleveland to put us in a position to try to make the playoffs in week 18 versus Dallas? And so I thought that Wentz came in, looked good. He's your starter moving forward. Want to see him continue to build off of what he did in this game. I think the running game has to be better. Scott Turner, I thought for the most part was solid in the game. Again, I said don't let Nick Bosa wreck the game. And what do? We let Nick Bosa wreck the game again. I just don't understand how you let one guy utterly destroy your whole game plan. You know Nick Bosa is terrorizing the league. Why aren't you doubling him on just about every single snap? That baffles me. It behooves me that he's getting one-on-one with Charles Leno. He's getting one-on-one with Cornelius Lucas. He's getting one-on-one with John Bates on a slow developing play in the red zone. And for a 2-point conversion, what are we doing? I say that, and then the touchdown pass to Jahan in the back of the end zone, that was a beautiful red zone play. So it's very frustrating, Scott Turner is, but nonetheless, 37 rather to 20 is your final score, and I'm not mad. This is what I expected. I told you I thought the score would be 30-20, and it was 30-20 for a little while there. And I had people in the mob saying, "Lou, you might be right." And you had the last, onside kick, and that's a hell of a catch by Kittle. That's a great play. I thought Jeremy Revo played his ass off in this game. I really, truly did. He stepped in the absence of Cam Curl, and I thought he did some really good things on the back end. And so I was really pleased with what we got out of Jeremy Reeves. The problem is it wasn't enough. None of it was. Offense, defense, special teams wasn't enough. Antonio Gibson was horrible on kickoffs today, which is why they took him off. And I think he banged himself up. Remember, he's dealing with the foot, and I think he banged himself up a little bit. And so they wanted to take one of those, jobs off his plate. So anyway, Dax Milne is not – I'm banning him from kickoff returns. I don't have a problem with him on punts. I'm banning Dax Milne from kickoff. They got to find another solution. He is not it. But anyway, I digress. Let's get to the comment section. See what you guys have to say. All right. Let's get all the way to the top. Keep rising to the top. All right. Let's see what we got. John Perez starts us off tonight. My guy, JP, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, first off, Merry Christmas to you and the fam. Likewise, JP. Another tough loss tonight, but I thought Chase Young looked good in his return despite being on a snap count. I don't know how I should feel about the coaching, though. So let's talk about Chase Young. I knew somebody would bring it up, which is why I didn't bring it up. I thought he looked good, too. There was one rush against Trent where he gave him a hard outside, back inside, used the hands to defeat Trent. It was a great rush, and he got double teamed. The guard was waiting on him after he beat Trent Williams, and he pushed Chase down, but I said, that's a hell of a move against that future Hall of Famer right there. Your first game back, you get Trent Williams as an assignment and you pass. Hey, not bad, man. Had a batted ball, had a play where he chased McCaffrey down from behind. He had a play where he sniffed out a screen they were trying to throw. I thought Chase looked good, man. Like you said, on the pitch count. At the beginning of the game, I was like, what pitch count? This guy's in here, right? Playing several plays in a row on back-to-back possessions. I was like, what pitch count? But as the game wore on, I think we saw less and less of him. I'll be anxious to see what his snap count was tonight, if he made it into the 20s. It feels like he made it into the 20s, but I don't even think the 49ers had that many snaps. Speaking of which, I'm going to see, because at one point, the 49ers didn't have 40 snaps in this game, and we were into the third quarter. So I'm actually anxious to see how many snaps they had in total. The 49ers had 51 plays. Yeah, they did not run a lot of plays. So I can't imagine Chase having, any more than 12 to 15 snaps in this game, because the 49ers only had 51. So I thought he looked good too. This coaching staff, however, not so much. Shout out to Del Rio. He tried to blitz. And they got there sometimes. Didn't get the quarterback down, but they got there. They flustered him. They flushed him. But they also got beat. That George Kittle second touchdown was a blitz. And the end did not keep contained. Purdy came out the backside, found a wide open Kittle, and he did the rest and rumbled into the end zone. So you live by the blitz, you die by the blitz. But I wasn't mad at Del Rio for mixing it up. So now it's on to Cleveland, right? It's on to Cleveland. Let's see. CBS or CB Soldier 24. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, it's all smiles for me, Louie. Detroit and Seattle lost. Philadelphia wins one of their two. They clinch, which means Dallas will rest. Carson looks great. We're going to the party, baby. I wish it were that simple. I wish it was as simple as, oh, yeah, Detroit lost. Seattle lost. Philadelphia's going to have to, Dallas isn't going to have anything to play for. I've already said that the likelihood is Dallas doesn't have anything to play for in week 18. That's the likelihood. I told you guys I thought that Detroit was going to lose to Carolina. I would not want to play this Panthers team, especially in Carolina this late in the season, because they're playing good football and they're tough out. And I knew Detroit was going to struggle. I did not expect them to struggle in the capacity that they did, but I expected them to struggle nonetheless. And you saw that they lost. We knew Seattle was going to lose going into Kansas City. And so we still have that half game lead, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say one of those two teams wins next week, if not both of them. So we better prepare to go beat Cleveland next week, or else we'll be on the outside looking in. And at that point, I'm like, we're not going to the playoffs. If we can't beat the Browns at home, we're not going to the playoffs. So Carson got in there. He looked, and Carson even said, last week, this is the best I've felt in December. Well, clearly you haven't played in a while, and so I bet this is the best you felt going into a December game. But let's hope that translates into him playing better football, the second act here in Washington. So let's see. Lorenzo Simpson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Zoe, my guy Zoe writes, can't wait to see our tight end block Myles Garrett one-on-one. Didn't I tell them before the game, I don't want to see any scenario in which Nick Bosa is singled up on a linebacker, or excuse me, on a tight end. Did I not make that abundantly clear that was not okay? Yet we still managed to do that, and he wrecked it, as he always does. There was a lot of do's and don'ts that I gave out before the game, and it didn't seem like they followed any of them. So that's how you end up where we ultimately end up, which is getting your ass kicked. Score doesn't do us any justice in this game. All right. CB Soldier 24. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Let me get this icon out of the way. By the way, you were right. My bad. TH3 is a fourth string QB in this league. I was on drugs, but I just got out of rehab. No, you're fine. You weren't on drugs. Here's the thing. He's not a fourth string quarterback in this league. He's a backup. He is what he is. Like, people were so upset about Charles Leno today, right? And really, it's just been this stretch of late where he's had at least one play he's been beat on, and it's been, a major impact on the game. And thus, people are calling Charles Leno trash. And I'm like, he's not trash. I've been telling you guys this for a very long time. Charles Leno is not trash. Charles Leno, however, is a slightly above average NFL tackle. And that's okay. That's okay. But understand that slightly, above average tackle is going to get you beat from time to time against elite pass rushers. You're going to give up some pressures. And he's doing that. So Heinicke isn't a backup, or rather a fourth stringer, but he's no starter either. He's a backup quarterback. And that's not a terrible thing either. Let's see. Jared Fromm, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jared writes, front office who can't be trusted to make the right moves with personnel on or off the field. I don't necessarily feel that way. We've gotten some things right. Like, it's not like this roster is in the same place it was when Ryan got here. We're much better on offense. We've got some young, talented players on defense. This thing is moving in the right direction. I don't really trust that this front office can't make the right decisions. Not yet, at least. I don't trust Martin Mayhew. I've already made that abundantly clear, but I trust Marty Herney. I trust Ron to an extent. So we'll see what happens. On the field versus off the field, two different conversations. On the field, there are times when I don't trust them, but overall, I trust the staff. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's see. All right, here we go. Drinkable Measy. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Drinkable Measy writes, ain't we tired of seeing third and long, Louie? That's why you can't get sacked. You can't have penalties. You can't have those mistakes on the first and second downs that we have. We have to stay in third and manageable because now I will say today, I actually feel like our third down conversion rate was actually pretty good. And we had some third and longs that we actually converted today. So I'd actually go out on a limb. I'm about to go look at it right now. We were 7 of 13 on third downs. Like it felt like it though, watching it. Like there was a 3rd and 9 to Curtis Samuel. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. We don't do that. That was on the drive where we scored the touchdown to Jahan Dotson right before half. There was another third down, I think, to Terry, where he was on the ground and then he had to kind of like scoot back a little bit to get the first down. But that was like 3rd and 13, and he gets like 14 on that. We're like, we converted third and longs today. That's why I said we did some really good things. Like watching this game, I was impressed with a lot of the stuff that we did. I thought this was a good game plan by Scott Turner. I thought it was well executed early on, except for mistakes here and there. A drop by Jahan, you're not getting into the end zone with and I don't know why Brian Robinson wasn't in the game and why that was Antonio Gibson. Somebody was like, B-Rob was probably tired. I don't give a shit if you're tired on 4th and 1, 4th and goal from the 1. Like if you get it, touchdown, it's over. If you don't get it, it's over. Either way, I need you in the game. You're the guy for the job. So I'm tired of seeing 3rd and long, but at the same time, I want to see us convert it when we do get it, because you're not always going to find yourself in an advantageous 3rd down situation. You're not always going to find yourself in a 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 2. You're going to be in 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 11 sometimes. And the drive can't be over because you're in 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 11. So it's good to see us convert those today. Wilfredo Elias, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, why in the hell is a tight end ever on Boza, especially one-on-one? Why do we do that? But looking forward, hopefully we get the Wentz we thought we were getting and keep the same game plan relatively the same. I would like to see them do that. I worry about Scott Turner. I'm not gonna lie to you. I worry about him because he gets really pass happy when he gets a guy that he thinks can, move the offense. He gets a little bit away from the run. Now he had every reason to go away from the run today. It wasn't working. I already told you, Brian Robinson, 22 carries, 58 yards. It was not working. However, that's the formula. That's who we are now. And now that Heinicke's no longer in the, under center and Wentz is, you can't change who we are. You got to stick to the script and hope that Wentz is able to take advantage of some of those opportunities in the play action game and taking shots down the field and things of that nature. But you can't change who we are. Hopefully Scott Turner doesn't lose sight of that when we continue to play quality ball. Why is Boza one-on-one? I wish I had the answers. I never understand that kind of thing. Why you would put, and I get it sometimes, the way you set up a play and the protection, that's how it, I'm sorry. Any play that involves my tight end blocking Nick Boza one-on-one is a dumb play as far as I'm considered. It's a loser play and it's dead on arrival. So I would have preferred them to, do something else on that 2-point conversion. That was pretty damn arrogant on the part of Scott Turner when you already saw that what was happening there. True Eminem Mullinex, hashtag HTTC. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, who writes, hey, Lou, I get it. The coaching staff can't count more than 7 wins because they're not smarter than the 7th graders, or I guess that's what that was supposed to be. LOL. Somebody, that was the running joke in the mob, is that Ron is allergic to more than 7 wins. Look, I think we're going to win more than 7 games. I think we're going to win 9 games. That's what it's going to take to get in the playoffs anyway. And so I think we're going to get there. I think we're going to do what we need to do. It's not pretty, but it's going to get the job done. You shouldn't be in this situation, but you are. So now you got to make the most of it. So I think we will. I'm not really worried. Lose next week, and I'm going to be singing a whole different tune. AJ Meehan, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, finally, the Taylor shit is over with. Move on with Wentz. It was a breath of fresh air when he came in. Also, Scott Turner still needs to go. I don't know if I will call it a breath of fresh air because, again, Taylor was playing well up until the mistakes in the fourth quarter. That said, he had missed some throws, and he got lucky on one that easily could have been picked off. So it's not like he was super clean all day. But for the most part, I was pleased with Heinicke's performance up until the fourth quarter. That's where things got away from him and got banged up a little bit too, so that didn't help. But this is the Wentz, experiment now. We're back to that. And if Wentz knows what's good for him, he'll rally this team, go into the playoffs and win a game, which will give him an opportunity to have sticking power. If you finish up this season 1-2 as a starter, or 1-1 rather as a starter, and don't get it done, and we miss the playoffs, it's probably it for you in Washington. So he's got to play for. He's got something to play for. I'll just say that. Lance Eubank, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, why does Miss Perry never have a super chat? Are you luck? I don't know about that one. That seems a little like too specific for me, and it's open-ended. She does super chat, just so you know. She super chats all the time. Let's see. Trevor Patch, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Trev, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, writes, Lou, I'm drained from the last 2 weeks. I hate clinging on for dear life by a half game. Regardless, we can't do damage in a postseason run with this coaching staff. The only thing that matters now is a new coach, new owner and coach. I think you're getting one. I don't think you're getting the other. So mentally prepare yourself for that. And I don't think you need a new coach right now, as far as I'm concerned. But the owner definitely has to go. I don't know why you're drained from today. Last week, I totally get. I was drained and fatigued after that one as well. But this week, I don't really understand why you would be drained after you lose a game that you fully expected to lose. And I pretty much was spot on in my assessment. I think I told you guys that we were going to be in this ball game into the third quarter. I didn't think we would have a chance in the fourth, and that's where I was wrong. We went into the fourth quarter down a touchdown, and they kicked a field goal on the very first play of the fourth quarter to give them a 10-point cushion. I never thought we would be within 10 in the fourth quarter. I always thought it would be more of an ass whooping at that point, like 30. I think I told you guys 30-13. I think it was 10. As a matter of fact, I think it was 23-13 going into the fourth quarter, and then they scored a touchdown, make it 30, and then they ultimately give up a touchdown, but to no avail. But whatever the case may be, I'm not drained after this week. I'm not drained mentally. Rob, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, the absence of Cam Curl was noticeable. It's always noticeable when he doesn't play. He didn't play in week 1. We gave up a ton of opportunities in Jacksonville and just escaped. We played Detroit in week 2. We were awful on defense. That was probably the single biggest disappointment of the season, was the first half in Detroit in particular. But the game overall against Detroit, where we had ample opportunities in that second half and couldn't get stops, that was without Cam Curl. He comes back in week 3 against the Eagles. Look, it wasn't, great from a scoreboard perspective, and he missed a big tackle to really kick off the start for the Eagles in that game against Dallas Goedert on a tight end screen. But Cam Curl's a massive part of this defense, and him not being there leaves a void. I thought Reeves played well, though. I got to give Revo a little bit of credit. I thought he was pretty solid on the evening. Wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but he was solid. Wilfredo Elias, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. who writes, also, Merry Christmas, Lou. Likewise to you and yours. Appreciate everything you've done over the years and hope nothing but blessings for you and your family and the LTN community. Kind words from Wilfredo Elias. Really, truly do appreciate you and look forward to chopping it up with you as always. Red Wings 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, whatever. I predicted we'd get destroyed anyway, but we're in the luck that the Lions, you called it, Lou, and Seahawks lost. We need to rally and win out. Dallas winning means that they should rest their starters. Yeah, I truly believe the Cowboys will have little to nothing to play for in Week 18. Thus, we will have an opportunity, but we've been there before in 2016 and we didn't take advantage. So that means absolutely nothing. And oh, by the way, as I mentioned earlier, we lost to Cooper Rush earlier in the season. So nothing is guaranteed to this team, but you like your chances. But before we can start talking about Dallas, got to focus in on Cleveland and find a way to get that dub, because they're looking to do nothing more than, throw a monkey wrench in somebody's playoff hopes. Don't want it to be us. So we need to win. We definitely need to win. I'm with you on that. Ja, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Ja writes, we clinch next week with a win and the Lions and Seahawks losing. Yeah, because then you'd be a game and a half up with a game back, with the game left. But I don't think both of them are losing. That's the problem. I think Detroit's going to win next week. I don't see Chicago beating anybody down the stretch. So we'll see. Rob, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Lou, the O-line had some rough moments, but Four has got to show better pocket awareness. Protect the ball. I don't know what he's thinking sometimes, and when he's holding on to the rock aimlessly, getting hit from behind. I don't really know what he's anticipating happening, but he never seems to get out enough. Wow. We're going to have to do better with Wentz in. How many low snaps and I get it, he's a taller guy, but how many snaps did Wentz have to bend down to grab today? Remember that shit when Wentz was in and West? I think it's not a problem for Heinicke. Heinicke's a smaller dude. West doesn't have any issues with him. Well, when Wentz gets in there, those snaps get lower and lower, it feels like, and he's got to bend down, bend down, bend down. This was the problem we had with West in week 3 before he got injured against Philadelphia. Hope he corrects that shit. The pocket awareness wasn't good from Taylor in the second half, specifically in the fourth quarter. But that's been a bugaboo of his, is just holding on to the ball a tick too long and really putting the pressure on your offensive line to have to hold up. He's got to be able to manipulate the pocket better than he does. Stephen Howell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, we left too many points on the board. Turner is horrible in red zone. That's how the beginning of the game started, man. I just felt like there were so many opportunities. And I said this in the MOBB. I said, we literally had a chance to get off to a fast start in this game, and we blew it. With the Jahan Dotson drop on the first possession, and then the Antonio Gibson not stretching the ball over. We were getting stops against their offense. The 49ers were 4 of 11 on third down today. Like, the defense didn't play awful, but it didn't create, the necessary. It didn't create the opportunities that we needed other than the interception. So, but not for a lack of trying. I thought Jack was very aggressive blitzing today. So, didn't think it was a lack of trying, that's for sure. Video channel, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Video channel, right? Sup, Lou? We are in control of our own destiny. We have the wheels in the different directions on the Navi now. I'm rubbing hand like Birdman, damn it. We're up a half game with 2 to go. As somebody just pointed out, you win coupled with a loss on Sunday and you got a shot to wrap this thing up. And that's ultimately what you want, is you want to be able to not have to need week 18. Like, if at all possible. The Giants, they don't need week 18. If they win next week, they're in. Like, that's where we were supposed to be. Remember, I said no matter what happens, the team that wins that Giants Commanders game isn't going to need the following game, which is going to be dangerous for both teams. Again, reinforcing this is why everybody is perfectly fine with going to Minnesota and playing the Vikings, whatever seed they are on, because they don't seem that daunting of a task, right? We'll see. I'm definitely rubbing my hand like Birdman. At this point, I remember I was talking all that shit. I don't even want the 7th seed. I'll take that shit in a hurry now. I just want in. I just want bonus ball. So, all right. Rob you. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Rob you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? As good as Defoe is, he still tends to peek in the backfield far too often. Love his aggressiveness, though. Now he tries to get the ball out. The touchdown, was it a touchdown or was it a big play? I think the first touchdown to Kittle was on Derek Forrest, where he essentially turned him free. Like you said, eyes in the backfield, poor eye discipline. Kittle runs right behind him, and it's too late. And I think a lot of people underrate just how fast George Kittle is. Not only is he strong as an ox and creates a massive run after catch, but I think he's faster than people think. He's outrunning some angles and things of that nature, So we found that out the hard way today. But Defoe's got to be better. But he's young. You expect those kind of mistakes. Derek B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Derek B writes, I had one drop, but bad ball from 4. Hit him in stride. No, that was the perfect ball in that situation, because you got a defender that I think was right there with Jahan Dotson. Don't know exactly what position he was in. Obviously, when he caught it, the defender had over pursued, and Dottie was in a position to catch it, turn to his outside shoulder, and haul ass. Clearly that didn't happen because Jahan dropped it, but that would have been 6. I thought that was a great throw. I'd much rather you underthrow your receiver on a deep ball than overthrow him. So anyway, again, for what that's worth. JB Johnson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy JB Johnson writes, like I said, Wentz can also take sacks, but like Heinicke does, but Wentz can see the field more and throw TDs. Both have 10 touchdowns. Wentz played 3 less games. You sure it's just 3 less? Feels like more than 3 less games, but whatever. You might be right, because Wentz started the first 6 games, of the season. So might have been, 3 games less. Anyway. Mr. Ron B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, sorry, Lou. I went to the game but couldn't deliver a win. Very frustrating because we were right there. I wouldn't allow myself to get upset, but I will say that there were opportunities there. And I expected to lose this game, but there was like a flicker of hope. 7-7 at half, 21-14 at the end of 3. Maybe. Nah, not at all. It's all good. We'll get them next time. F. Altus, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, the knife edge that Heinicke ran this offense through with all of his limitations, hats off to him. He made Rivera's decision that little bit harder. Touche, I say to that. Touche on Heinicke. Somebody in the MOBB said this, and I thought it was spot on. Somebody said, Heinicke did what you want a backup quarterback to do in this league, similar to Cooper Rush. Keep the team afloat, give them a chance, and he did that. So he deserves a hell of a lot for his role in this team starting to emerge, play better ball. But his time has come, his season has passed, And now we back to Carson Wentz. So, and I think I was talking to King of the North, and he said, bro, it's never a good thing when you get this deep in the season and something non-injury related happens and you just pop up. Not ideal. So I got to give credit to Heinicke, man. This is the run's over. I talked about this, I think either last week or the week before. I said, this is it. This for the Heinicke Hive, enjoy this while you got it, because this is going to be it. We're not beating the 49ers. This is going to be it. But I'm going to give Heinicke his flowers while he can still smell them. He gave us a chance this season. If he doesn't step in and do the things that he did, we're not having this discussion. We're not even talking about meaningful football right now. So don't be, shitting on Heinicke now that he's no longer the starter. Understand what he did for this team. There were limitations. There were always going to be limitations. We knew that. But he also did some really big things to help this team win. So make sure you acknowledge that. Rob U, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Rob U writes, Shanahan puts all his QBs in position to succeed. And he doesn't ask them to do a lot. How many completions did Brock Purdy have today? I don't even know if the man had 20. I don't even know if he had 20 of them. Let's see. 15 of 22 was Brock Purdy. Now, of those 15 attempts, he had a bunch of chunk plays in that thing. I mean, man had 234 yards passing on just 15 completions rather. So he was pumping out some dimes down the field. Most of it to Kittle, man. Who are we kidding, right? Most of this was to Kittle and him running and doing the rest. Still had to get it there, though. Rob U, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Rob U writes, San Francisco has a great front seven, but their secondary is suspect. Like I said, we knew what we were getting ourselves into when before the game started. So none of this is new news to me. None of this is new news to any of you out there. I just read a comment. Somebody said, Louie's not really mad. No, I'm not. I actually thought they played solid football, and I already knew what they were going to do. I knew how they were going to come out and play. So definitely not really that upset. I'm actually pleasantly surprised at how well they played. No consolation prizes. I'm not looking for a gold star or a juice box or a bag of chips or some type of gold medal for playing hard and giving yourself a shot. Just not really that concerned. Knew that we weren't going to win the game. Wanted to see certain things. I saw some of them, so I feel really good. Move the logo of the face cam. I already did that. Thank you. Even if I hadn't, I appreciate you telling me, because I just happened to look down at my monitor and see that it was kind of like literally in my face. So thank you for that. Anyway, Mike Lake, stand up. I appreciate the contribution for being a member of the MOBB and blessing me to help further the Louie Tee Network. So Merry Christmas to you and yours. Mike writes, finally caught you on a live. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Likewise, Mike. Thanks for the consistent content. Kind of glad Wentz got a chance with 2 more games left. His only problem, he thinks Logan Thomas is the best receiver on the team. Shaking my head. Well, we saw Logan get busy. I mean, how many weeks did we see Logan have 2 targets, 1 catch, and then Wentz comes in and promptly Logan Thomas has like 5 targets and 3 of them are catches. Let's see what Logan Thomas did today. And honestly, most of his damage came when the game was no longer within reach, it felt like. Curtis Samuel, 6 carries, 35 yards. No. Anyway, I'm glad Wentz got out there, not necessarily just to build a rapport with Logan Thomas. I was just looking at the receiving stats just to get out there and knock off some of the rust. It's probably what I was more excited about than anything else. If you're going to go to Wentz, which clearly that's the move, get him some reps. They did that. That's good to see. And I thought he performed well. All right. Will Morales, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Will writes, back end struggled. Too many chunk yards. Mayo got exposed middle of the field. Penalties again, O-line issues. Limping to the last 2 games. We lost our mojo. Coaching lost us last 2 games as well. Do y'all really think that the coaching staff was terrible today? Like, what did the coaching staff do to lose us this game? I don't know. I just, Mayo is fine. I'd much rather have David Mayo. I can't speak for anybody out there. I'd much rather have David Mayo out there than John Boston. But that's just me. That's my personal preference. Jason Rogers, Uncle Jay, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, happy holidays, everyone. Happy holidays, Uncle Jay, man. Really, truly do appreciate you as always. And shout out to my guy, Uncle Jay, for donating tickets last week to the game. So in addition to the tickets that I always get as a season ticket holder, you're going to be getting that. So we gave out 2 tickets last week extra, and they were from my guy, Uncle Jay. So happy holidays to you, and thank you for all that you do and all you provide for the Louie Tee Network as well. Shout out to my guy, Uncle Jay. Chaotic, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, Lou, I believe if we win next week and Detroit and Seattle lose, we are in. That's facts. Because then they would be, I told you, they losing today hurt them worse than it hurt us. Because they're running out of time, literally, to make something happen. I'm not worried about Seattle. I think I told y'all this already. I was watching those 2 games with a lot of intent today, and Detroit got ran on for over 300 yards by Carolina. Okay, so the NFL, I talk about this all the time. The NFL is the ultimate week-to-week league. Carolina looked sus last week. They couldn't stop the Steelers on 3rd down. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't score. They looked out of sorts. This week, they show up. Detroit can't get a stop to save their life. Their defense was, didn't show up, was pretty much non-existent. And they were able to, was Carolina able to take it to them, the Lions? I could easily see the Lions losing again. Let me just double check. I feel like their next opponent, I feel like their last 2 opponents are family business affairs. One at Chicago, the other at Green Bay. But I'm just going to double check to make sure. That way we're on the same page about my schedule. So let's see. Lions have Bears and then the Packers. I already told you I think they're going to win that Bears game, lose to the Packers. So I don't think we're going to be able to clinch a damn thing next week. I think it's going to come down to week 18. Let's hope that we are still holding on to the lead then. But maybe you – never mind. All right. Let's see. Mr. HTTR, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Next Gen Stats had Chase with 30 snaps. It felt like a lot of snaps. 30 is a bit much for me, but it felt like more than 12 or 15, which was supposed to be the snap count. It felt like 20 to 25 snaps, but I wasn't actually counting either. So we'll see. I can't wait till the official numbers come out tomorrow. When everybody starts posting what, or Monday rather, what the snap counts were for all the players. Can't wait to see what Chase's was because felt like he was out there quite a bit, especially early, not as much late. James Johnson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, Merry Christmas to you and the fam. Likewise, James. Thank you so much. He said, these tight ends blocking DNs has got to go ASAP. Shout out to my man for Patrick Peterson. Or let's see. Shout out to my man Patrick Payton. Still think we going to the party. I've never wavered on us going to the party. I still think we're going to get in. It really was hinged upon, though, Detroit taking care of business today. They didn't, which is what I thought they would do. And so now I feel even more confident. But Detroit had what they wanted in front because we were going to lose. Like, they needed a loss by either us or, they need the Giants to implode. I don't see that happening. They just need somebody to lose for them to get in. Yeah. We're going to see. Swaggy P, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, wish we took advantage of the losses today. I do too, man. Felt like it was a missed opportunity, but you knew what we were walking into. That's why I'm not upset. Love seeing Chase out there making plays. Definitely a winnable game next week. If Seattle and Detroit loses, we will win. We'll clinch a playoff spot on the Cleveland. Hashtag HTTC. The importance of next week really stems from the fact that we got to so the whole we control our own destiny. You know how I feel about that phrase. But we do control the outcome of our season. What do you want to do? You want to make the playoffs? Or do you want to miss the playoffs? It's a pretty cut and dry question. Not really hard to answer. But all you can do is control what you can control. You hear that all the time from the players, the coaches, to a man. Be where your feet are is one of their things, but also control what you can control. You can't control whether Detroit goes out and loses at home in Chicago. You can't control whether the you can't control what Seattle does. All you can do, and we don't need anybody to lose. This is the thing that drives me nuts, is we don't need anything from anybody. Just win and we're fine. But we don't seem to like nice things. So we'll see. It's on the Cleveland, like you said, though. And that's a big one. Swaggy P, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, also, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you, Lou, and your family and the whole mob. Likewise, Swaggy P, man. Really do appreciate each and every single one of the mob squad. We in the building. Y'all know what it is. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to all of you, too. Jean Baptiste, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, the Niners have efficient plays. Look at their touchdown drive after the half. Why can't we have the same? Our players are just as good. Frustrating. ST has to go. The 49ers were very efficient. And you know what's crazy? In the moment, it didn't feel that way. But then I looked up, and the disparity between the total yards in the play was mind-boggling. It was almost mind-numbing. Now, again, you got to factor in those two George Kittle, explosives. And then I don't think the Ray McLeod was counted as a pass. I think they handed it to him. But if they touched it or, just tossed it to him as he was coming across the formation, that's a pass as well. But I was more so talking about the yardage because I thought y'all had another strong year. Let's go here. All right, so let's look at the total yardage real quick. We actually closed that gap late. It's 371 for the Niners to 349 for Washington. It was 2-something to 3-something at one point in this game. I do know that. He says, why can't we have the same? Our players are just as good. Frustrating. Scott Turner has to go. Again, I didn't think this was one of the games afterwards that you could really point the finger at Scott Turner and lay the blame solely in his lap. I didn't feel like that's one of these games. But, everybody is at wit's end with that situation. So there's no convincing anybody of anything. Mr. HTTR, stand up. You are the newest member, the official newest member of the mob. Look forward to chopping it up with you, mob. Y'all know what to do. Show Mr. HTTR some love. Welcome aboard. And welcome to the squad. Look forward to chopping it up with you, my guy. And you're gonna be here for some bonus ball as well. Just so you know. Just so you know. The Phillies Ace 34. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, Merry Xmas, my friend, to you and yours, Lou. Can you explain that sports is set up like the WWE? Because without storyline and drama, it would be boring. There are many things to prove this, in my opinion. I do think it's set up sort of like a drama. Like, don't tell me that Deshaun Watson being suspended 11 games and playing his first game in over, almost 2 years. Don't tell me that it was a coincidence that it was week 11 against the Texans. Okay. You look at certain things, you look at certain matchups, how they set things up. Yeah, they definitely try to create a storyline or embellish a rivalry just to get you to tune in. That's what the NFL is all about. But again, likewise on Christmas, thank you so much for all that you've done. And I really do appreciate you as an Eagles fan. There aren't many of you who are down to earth, cool, and easy to just chop it up with. You're one of the few, man. So thank you so much, the Phillies Ace 34. True Eminem Mullinex, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, sorry, not smarter than a fifth grader. Get it? The game show. LOL. I got the game show reference. I just didn't remember what grade it was that they said. I didn't know if it was 5th, 7th. It wasn't middle school. It was elementary school. So it had to be like 3rd, 4th, or 5th or something like that. I didn't know which one it was. So you got me on that one. Let's see. Protect Sports Network. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. As always, man. My guy Tones right. Yo, Lou. What's up, Tones? He says, happy holidays to you and your family, bro. Likewise to you and yours. Hope and pray that all is well. Likewise, again, enjoy the time with family. Tough loss today, but Taylor had to sit, bro. I got no problems with Taylor getting benched. We knew that the end was near and that he was going to have to do something drastic. And I actually thought he came out with that mindset of, I'm trying to protect my job. And I thought he played well early on in his game and gave us a chance. And then, unfortunately, like with Wentz, the offensive line failed him, but then he failed himself as well. But I thought he came out and showed well early on with Heinicke. So maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Like King of the North was like, bro, what team can you think of that is that playoff bound willingly benches a quarterback in favor of another this late in the season? The answer is none of them. Nobody does this type of stuff. You get a guy in this late in the season at quarterback and there's a change. That's because there was an injury, not because a guy's just not playing well and you decide to go in a different direction. So, yeah, I think it was time for Taylor to sit down, but he was playing well and I wanted him to keep playing well and he just didn't. Rush is variety. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Rush is variety writes. Hard to be excited for the playoffs with O-line like this. I can't agree with that. I'll be excited no matter what. You tell me we are in the playoffs. I don't give a shit what offensive line, running backs, wide receivers, who we going in, quarterback. I don't give a shit who we going in there with. If we get an opportunity, that's all I can ask for. And I think we're going to. I truly do believe that. But they're going to have to play better. That's for sure. Chauncey Davis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB OG Triple OG. Writes, got family season tickets holders in Minneapolis. I don't even know what to make of that comment. I'm gonna move on. That feels luckish. Hey, I know what y'all saying out there. Whatever, I don't care. That seems real luckish. Real talk. Jay Lee, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jay writes, 4 was inaccurate on slants. 1 was tragic to 24. Yeah, that was on a 3rd down where I'm like, bro, are you serious? Why are you that far off? Why are you missing like that? Then the slant to Jahan that he caught magically, somehow magnificently, he pulls it in. That shit should have been picked off twice on that one play. So yeah, it wasn't by any stretch of the imagination a perfect game for Heinicke, but he was playing well. He was playing well. But that's all dead and gone now. Chauncey Davis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. OG, triple OG, double up, thank you for doubling up. Writes, just Ron's 3rd year. Wow. I think people forget that he hasn't been here super long because it's gone by so quickly, and there's been so many different things that have either derailed seasons or made it something to remember. This season is trending in that same direction where I think we're going to find ourselves with an opportunity. And if you don't get in, you're going to always remember this season for what it could have been. You get in, now you're playing playoff football, right? So you're going to remember that no matter what. I think and this was fool's gold, but I kept comparing Ron's 3rd year in Carolina to Ron's to the one. Man. He went 12-4 that 3rd year in Carolina, man. And after that 5-game, what was it? 3-game win streak? Thought we might have had something there for a second, but clearly that was not the case. So, Armand Brown, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Armand writes, Lou, Taylor didn't get flowers for being what he is, a backup. That's like giving Dan Orlovsky flowers. Stop it. Thanks for the content, Lou. Keep it up. No, you have to give Taylor his flowers, man. Like, seriously. Do you know how hard it is as a backup to come in and stabilize the ship? Like, what Cooper Rush did, he deserved flowers. The Cowboys season was over without Cooper Rush. Understand what Cooper Rush provided for them until Dak came back. Our season was over until Taylor Heinicke stepped in and won 5 out of 6. Like, understand that there was some great value in keeping that door open and allowing us to be in a position that maybe Wentz is able to get through that door because Heinicke kept the door open. He didn't allow the rest of the league to shut it and lock it. He kept the door open. And now Wentz may be able to lead the team through the door. We'll see. Dude, I think he deserves flowers, man. I do. Dynamic Dave. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Dynamic Dave writes, I'm only not mad because Detroit and Seattle lost. You think different. I think that's a part of it. Of course, if we were sitting here right now and we look at the playoff standings and we're not in, yeah, I think there would be a lot more sense of urgency. You'd be a lot more upset because now you don't control the outcome of your season. You're only in if somebody does something that allows you to get back in. We're not in that portion yet. So as far as I'm concerned, yeah, those 2 teams lost, but I expected both of them to lose. So this doesn't move the needle for me at all. The only thing that would have moved the needle was if we would have won. But it is what it is. Bars HTTR 95 or Barce or Barque. First Tory Lanes, now this. I got faith in Wentz. It's funny. I was at a party yesterday, right? That's part of the reason why I can barely keep my damn eyes open. I didn't get home until 5 in the morning. I don't know the last time that I've done that. Had a blast though, right? But we were listening to some Tory Lanez a couple times. His song came up, and we were making a joke that, hey, I better get it in while you can, because it won't be too much more of that coming, down the pipeline. So I got faith in Wentz as well. I do too. As long as Scott Turner sticks to the script. Money over, just stick to the script. We re-up, get back on our shit. Stick to the script, Scott. Now that Wentz is in, don't all of a sudden get pass happy. Stick to the script. If he does that, we're going to have a shot. Because I think Wentz is actually going to make the heavy play action pay off when we're having success running the football. I think he's going to make it pay off. Commando, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Commando writes, do you bet parlays, etc.? If so, help me, LOL. I don't really bet on NFL games. It's not my thing. It's not my thing. But anyway, I digress. If you got some questions, you can throw them at me. I don't mind helping you out. That's just not my thing in particular. But don't let me stop you. Video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Carson Wentz starting QB career is on the line. Yes, it is. It was on the line when he showed up to Washington. But now that he didn't really get that opportunity during the season because of the, issues, you thought it was over already. But here we are. Wentz getting in. This is what I'm telling myself. I'm a dumbass. Don't listen to me on this. But this is what I'm telling myself. Why can't he come in and be Nicholas Foles? Now, obviously, there are a lot of differences between that Eagles team that Foles took over for Wentz in 17 on and this team. That team was the #1 seed in the NFC. A lot of people forget that. Like, they were already really good. And all they really needed was for him to come in and do what he ultimately did, which is not turn the football over, play confident ball, and he could sling it. That's not what this team is. This team isn't the #1 seed. We're barely clinging to the 7th seed in the postseason. However, the talent is undeniable. These last 3 weeks or so with Jahan emerging and really showing why he was a first-round pick, we know what Terry is. Curtis has been rock solid. Speaking of Curtis, I thought he got hurt on that last catch of the game. I saw him flexing his shoulder. I hope he's okay. I'll just leave that there. But I wouldn't be shocked to see him on the injury report come Wednesday. But with all the weapons that we have on offense, Wentz is going to give you a chance. That's all you can ask for. Now, what is he going to do with it? Don't know, but he's going to give you a shot. That's all you can ask for. All right. Armin Brown, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Ron's coach-centric approach ain't working. He muffed the O-line and linebackers in free agency, and he lacks situational awareness and game time decisions. I've never been in love with Ron's clock management, game management, so forth. When to throw the challenge flag, when to call the timeout. That's the type of stuff I think he struggles with. But as far as linebackers and O-line and what this roster has or doesn't have and what they're responsible for, I struggle with that. I really, truly do struggle with that because this roster was terrible when he inherited it in 2020, and they're light years better. They still got a lot of work to do. you could talk about no Eric Flowers or Brandon. They tried to re-sign Brandon Sheriff. They tried. Brandon wanted no parts of being here. So I don't know. Linebacker is the one where I say they were stubborn on, because instead of them saying, you know what, we really need to do something about linebacker and corner in particular, and they never did. So but you can't fix everything in one off season. I've been talking about that. Like, you can't get upset because they didn't fix this, fix that, fix that, fix this, because you can't fix everything in one off season. So. The Phillies Ace 34, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Who writes, Lou, I feel the same way with you as you root for your Washington. With you're outstanding at what you do. You do objective, and you really keep it real. Pull no punches. Hey, I appreciate you, the Phillies Ace 34. That's why you're my guy. You know that, and I make sure I tell you that all the time. That is why you are my guy, man. Merry Christmas, bro. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Atypical brother. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Atypical brother writes, is Ron on the hot seat? No, he's not. Side note, I understand why Cam was always getting hit throughout his career at Carolina. Ron does not know how to build O-lines. I can't speak to what he did on the offensive line in Carolina, or why, Cam was getting hit or not getting hit. Cam was getting hit because he was a physical specimen, and they were using him in a way that was going to get him hit. The biggest problem with the offensive line in Carolina was it got old. They allowed it to get old. The biggest problem here in Washington on the offensive line is they were trying to go young, right? And then they didn't get Brandon Sheriff to agree to a deal, so he left. They replaced him, and it seems like we just constantly fighting an uphill battle on the offensive line. Get Chase Roulier back, he injures himself again. You get Tyler Larson back, he injures himself again. Now you're down to your third string tight end, right? And Leno's been solid. And when you don't have a left tackle, you'll take solid. But Leno's not an above average left tackle. I think we can all agree on that. And thus, that's not a problem on your roster right now. But you shouldn't feel comfortable with him as your left tackle for the next 3 years. But they signed him to a 3-year extension, so we'll see. Ron's not on the hot seat. I can assure you of that. Pretty much really confident he's not going anywhere. Atypical brother, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Atypical brother writes, should Hal start? Should we see what he has? No, absolutely not, because you're not in that situation. Your season still is on the line. You still got winnable games. How can you look Terry McLaurin in the face? How can you look Jahan Dotson? Or forget Jahan because he's a rookie. How can you look Terry, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Kendall Fuller, Curtis Samuel, Antonio Gibson? How can you look these guys, those offensive linemen, how can you look them in the face and tell them that we're rolling with the rookie for the final 2 games with the season on the line? Come on, man. That doesn't even make sense. There's no way to spin that. Nah, there's no way to put him in and see what he has. DJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy DJ writes, Lou, I like Heinicke, but with the same run-first approach will benefit Wentz and keep the offense wide open. Scott, no doubt, needs to understand his personnel. Beef up O-line this offseason. Yeah, they're going to have to do some things on the offensive line. I think that we're going to make a list when the season's over. I did it last year. We're going to do it again. What this team needs, but right now it's all about how do we finish strong, and I think how we come out is going to dictate a lot against a team like Cleveland. You let them hang around and they gain confidence, you could be in some trouble. I think if this is what I'm going to predict right now, knowing Scott Turner, we're going to run the football, but there will be more deep shots. I don't necessarily know if that's a good thing because you're asking the quarterback to take deeper drops, more steps, hold on to it longer. This is not an offense to do that. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's see. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Metaphor writes, my 11 bus takes tokens to the playoffs with Wentz. Hop on, mob. Why are we kicking onside kick there? And that 4th and goal, field goal makes 2 points unneeded at the end. I agree with you. I said this at the top of the show. I didn't understand the logic behind going for the onside kick there down 10 with 5 minutes and some change left and all 5 of your timeouts. That didn't really make a lot of sense to me. Thought that your best bet, you needed 10 points, you needed 2 scores to get it. Your best bet was to kick it deep, find a way to get it stopped, and see if you could get the ball back, score, and then make it interesting. But clearly. Well, we'll see if your 11 bus is taking tokens or not, and where the hell is it going? You can put the tokens in, it can take you to the wrong stop. We'll see. Jared Fromm, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Jared. Who writes, I fear if we make the playoffs that they will keep Wentz next year. I can't stress how much I don't want that. Don't want 4 as a starter either. Also, happy holidays to you and yours. Jared, I think your dilemma is what most fans would agree is their dilemma. They want to wipe the slate clean, not necessarily getting rid of Heinicke per se, but they don't want to see him as a starter. Sam Howell is a guy that they're intrigued by, but they really want, another new toy. So it's going to be interesting. Again, I've already laid this out for you. If Wentz comes in, and clearly he's back in now, and they win a playoff game, he takes us to the playoffs. First of all, you got to do that first. We're not in. So he's got to take us to the playoffs. And they get in and then they win a game. How is he not back next year? And that's the thing you got to ask yourself. It's which one means more to you? I'm a playoff guy. Give me the bonus football. That means more than any of that other shit. We'll figure it out as we go. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I just want bonus football. So I think we're going to get an opportunity to do that. Once again, happy holidays and Merry Christmas to you and yours as well. Thank you for the generous donation, Jared from, all right. Rocky D, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Rocky D, thank you for being a member of the MOBB writes. Sup, fellow monarchs? What's going on, Rocky D? You are right. Give TH4 his flowers. I hope they sign him for a backup role next year. Happy holidays. Did y'all see the amount of money? I think I retweeted this out. I'm not sure if I did or didn't. Did you see the amount of money that Sports Rack is projecting that Heinicke will command on the open market next year? Are you insane? They had him at $19 million per year. There's no way Taylor Heinicke's getting that kind of money. Are you serious? I think, but so how they do this is they usually take guys in the same age group, similar skill set, and they put them in one group, and then they average out those salaries, and that's how they get the number for the guy that's about to become a free agent. And so they had like Andy Dalton, Derek Carr, and there was one more. It was one more. I can't think of who it was, but at the end of the day, it was one quarterback in there that skewed the entire average. I think Tannehill was in there too, and it was the Tannehill number that elevated it all. But all those guys are right there around 30. Heinicke's about to turn 30. All of those guys are, proven commodities as backups / starters. Obviously, Tannehill and Derek Carr are starters, but, Andy Dalton is more in that Taylor Heinicke role at this point of his career. And he got, 1 year, $10 million deal the last 2 off seasons. I think that's where Heinicke is going to be, somewhere in the neighborhood of a 3-year, $30 million deal or a 3-year, $27 million. Like he's never made real money. So he's not getting $19 million a year, for Washington. No way in hell. He'll be signing a 3-year, $21 million deal or something. And that's good money for him. But we'll see. Definitely deserves his flowers because without him, we're not where we are right now. All about Moody. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Ryan gave up Kevin O'Connell for Scott Turner. Shaking my head. Yeah, he pretty much did. But again, I've already explained to you why he did what he did, why he cleaned house the way that he cleaned house. He did not trust any soul that was left in the building, and I don't blame him for that. If I don't know you, who new phone, who this? When Ron got here, new phone, who this? I don't trust none of y'all because y'all were here with the last regime and they were some backstabbers. So as far as I'm concerned, all of y'all got to get the hell out. Even you, Kevin. What did I do? I don't know, but you look sneaky as hell. Get out. So I get it. I don't love it, but I get it. I don't know if y'all saw that, but that shit was crazy. Rocky D, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Rocky D writes, I wasn't pleased with the 4th and 1 going for it on our side of the field. I believe that was the turning point, but hey, we still the 7th seed. I mean, that's debatable. I don't think that there in that moment there's a right or a wrong thing to do there. I agree with going for it. Just so you know, I didn't have a problem with them going for it because it was literally inches. And Heinicke, I didn't think it was a great snap. It wasn't a great job by the offensive line of coming off the ball and creating an opportunity for him to fall forward. Got to give the Niners credit. But I feel like if you can't get a literally 6 inches on a QB sneak, then you don't deserve to win the game. I didn't have any problems with them going for that. I just didn't. My problem was, believe it or not, and I said this already at the top of the show, where was this aggressiveness last week when it was warranted, when you needed it, when you were supposed to have it? Where was it at last week? That was my biggest gripe. Not now all of a sudden you want to be gung-ho. Now all of a sudden you want to be Riverboat Ron again. Where was that shit at last week? Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on this installment of the Command Post Game Show. The Commanders fall 37-20 at the hands of now the hottest team in football, winners of 8 straight in the San Francisco 49ers. Don't look now, but no, they're not going to be able to catch them. The 49ers are now 11-4. But the Eagles are still 13-2. So they need the Eagles, just like the Vikings would need them to lose out. They need them to lose out. And then they would need some more help. I think I don't know. We're going to see. I'm just going to tell you guys this. I said this after we lost to the Giants. We're still making the playoffs. And after watching Seattle today, after watching Detroit today, after watching us today, I still think we're making the playoffs. So nothing has changed for me. I predicted that Carolina would beat Detroit, and they did. We all could agree that Seattle was going to lose to Kansas City, and they did. We all thought we were going to lose to San Francisco, and they did. So at this point, we got what we needed to do. And now we got to win. Point blank, end of discussion. So that's where we're at now. Rocky D, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Rocky D writes, when is the next Super Friends meetup? It's going to be soon. It's going to be soon. I think that first week of the playoffs, unless we get to week 18 and those matchups mean something, which Giants, Eagles not going to mean a damn thing. Cowboys, Washington not going to mean a damn thing. I don't think either of those matchups mean a thing. And so at that point, I don't think it's worth it. I think that following week, going into the first weekend of the playoffs, if we're all in, that is when you do it. That is when you have the super friend string. So I'll definitely be working on kind of nailing down a time for everybody to come chop it up and kick it. But there was a lot of things said out on the last stream. The most notable, Washington wasn't going to make the playoffs. We got to make the playoffs, or else he's right, and we don't want that. We do not want that at all. So anyway, that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on this installment of the Command Post Game Live Show. Commanders fall to 7-1 on the season with a 37-20 loss. The biggest takeaway from this game is that Taylor Heinicke got banged up, but more importantly, he didn't play well in the second half, turned it over twice, and got benched in favor of Carson Wentz, who came in and actually made things briefly interesting and looked good, looked sharp, looked healthy, moved around probably a lot better than he did before the injury. And think he's going to make it interesting down the stretch. I actually think we've got a chance to score some points against Cleveland. I honestly believe that. I may be foolish here, but I think we've got a chance with Carson Wentz under center next week to score some points. Again, all of this hinges upon the offensive line's ability to protect, which means we need to run the football. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Who writes, note, we scored more than anyone the last 6 weeks against the San Francisco 49ers. I said that already. No one had scored more than 17 points. There was a streak there for about a month, roughly, where nobody scored in the fourth quarter, right? So I told you we did some good things today. We really did. I don't like comparing what we did with other teams that lost because we lost. I don't really like again, it's loser talk when you go, well, at least we did better than such as I don't care. They lost and we lost. But you got to admit that there were some good things done on the football field today by Washington. But in typical Washington Commanders fashion, which is the thing that probably frustrates me the most, is that we don't take advantage of opportunities that we create, and we don't do the things that lend itself to winning games like this one, and so we lose. But we played good red zone defense. I think the 49ers had 4 trips into the red zone or 5. I think they were 1 of 5. We got a fourth down stop on one of them. We got they scored on the final touchdown of the final possession of the game to Christian McCaffrey. I think is the only one that they scored on. Let's see. Red zone defense. Washington was 2 of 3 in the red zone offensively. Okay, which is a far cry from what they've been, even though you need them to be 3 of 3. The 49ers were 1 of 5 in the red zone. Our red zone defense was outstanding. They had so many, they could have scored 50 in this game, but the defense wouldn't allow it. But as always, the turnovers coupled with that stat right there tell the story. And we had 2 turnovers. And they were both back-breaking, crippling turnovers. So, yeah, you know what it is. Red Boy, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Red Boy writes, I was there. Dotson is a damn stud. Yeah, he is. We know that, though. We know what John Dotson brings to the table. Sucks that the sun got in his eyes on the first possession of the game, or else that would have been a touchdown. But he damn near catches everything, and they had problems covering him, but who doesn't? He's going to be a problem in this league for many, many years to come. So always good to see. That said, that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on the Command Post Game Live Show. Look forward to chopping it up with you guys tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Monday, maybe Monday. And I might be in transit on Monday. So the likelihood is you'll get a video out of me on Monday. We'll let the dust settle, the smoke clear, and then we got a big one. Again, we'll kind of parse through everything that took place in this game make sure that we didn't come out of this thing any worse for the wear injury-wise. I think Benjamin St. Juste is hurt, guys. I think there's a chance Curtis Samuel did something. There's a chance that Gibby, really took that foot injury and exacerbated it. We might have come out of this thing a little banged up. We'll see. Hopefully. James Smith-Williams, did he return in the game? I don't even know what he did. Looked like he chased after Brock Purdy, who looked a lot damn faster than I think we all anticipated. I think he hit his head on the ground and, shook his brain up a little bit. He didn't look like he was all there when he got up. That could be, and remember, James Smith-Williams had just come back from a concussion. If you recall, over the bye week, him and Montez both sustained a concussion in that first Giants game, and neither had to miss any time because that concussion was sustained right before the bye. They had that whole entire bye week, and then they were able to come back and practice and play that following week. So that could be a big blow, not having James Smith-Williams in the rotation. So Chase looked good in his first action in over a calendar year. Wentz looked good in his first action in over a month and a half. I like where we're going. We'll see what happens. Rocky D, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Rocky D writes, last super chat from me. If Carson wins, do you think Ja good to go? Good to look Carson the way he looks at. Oh, he think John Allen is gonna look at Carson the way he looks at TH. Nah, I don't think so. That look from John Allen earlier in the season after Heinicke, I believe it was it was one of the early games that he won. Who did we play? It was that Green Bay game, I think. It's the game he was looking at him like his firstborn son. That was a game to keep the season alive. Maybe. I mean, hell, that's what we're doing now, right? Fighting to keep the season alive, fighting to make the playoffs. Maybe. You never know. I mean, he's not going to do that again. He's not going to do that again. But, we'll see. Anyway, I digress. You guys get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I most certainly will. And if I don't see you again for whatever reason, and I probably won't, but who knows? Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Happy holidays to you and yours. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. You guys have a good one. God bless. See you next time.